And now here's Dan Wooding with today's guest.
Welcome to today's program, and I have an old friend with the most amazing name of
Yochanan Marcellino.
I used to know him originally as Ken Marcellino, very much involved in the music business, and we're at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Nashville. You can probably hear an awful lot of noise. But Yochanan, tell us first of all why you're here, just briefly, and then we'll go back to the movie. And then I want to hear this extraordinary story of how a Chinese prisoner changed your life.
Great. Well, obviously we're here laying the foundation for our new movie called The Identical. It is starring Ray Liotta, Ashley Judd, Seth Green, Joe Pantoliano, Brian Garrity, Amanda Crew, Aaron Cottrell, and our newcomer Blake Rain, who is the lead actor and who is the singer-performer and plays both twins, identical twins, in the movie.
What's the storyline?
The storyline is really God has a call in everybody's life. And there's a lot of people out there in the world that are living the call of somebody else's life and not the one that God has called you to. I'm sure your audience can relate to this. We've all been there, right? But this is a movie about following your dreams, and there's a key line in the movie, which is if God is in your dreams, if He is in your dreams, no one can stand against you.
Wow. When we first met, which was many years ago up in Lake Arrowhead, something extraordinary happened. You were in the music business, were you then?
Yes, I was in the music industry. I've been in for 39 years now in the music industry. Back then was in the late 80s. I believe it was 1988. And it was a Sunday. And Dan, that's where we had really met at that time, or right around that time. And you brought a Chinese pastor into the fellowship that day to testify with translation, because I believe he was speaking in Mandarin, if I remember correctly. About his extraordinary experience of being in prison for 12 years in China when the government tried to shut down Christianity completely from the country. And because of his great testimony in that place, they punished him by throwing him into the inner prison cesspool every day of his stay there for years and years and years. And I remember watching him say that, and I'm thinking to myself, first off, how could he be alive being thrown into a cesspool with no doctor, no nothing? But secondly, he glowed like an angel. And I remember saying, that is a true Christian, if I've ever seen one. And if he's a true Christian, I remember saying to myself, what am I? Because I'm a believer, but why do I feel like that man is the real thing, you know? And so I went home that day, true story, and I committed myself to fast and to pray, specifically for a country I could call my own, that I would burn in my heart for a country I could call my own, like that man burned for his people, China. And I was committed to go 40 days if I had to go. But God met me on that journey, and He showed me that He had called me to the land of Israel in a most extraordinary way.
And you're not Jewish in any way, are you? You're Italian, I think?
My father's Italian, my mother was Jewish.
Okay.
And so I'm an Italian Jew. But as a believer, I really had no total connection with the land of Israel. In other words, they were, to me, another people group. And to one extent, that's true. There's many people groups in the world. But God had something very, very specific to say about His chosen people, His old covenant people, that was very amazing in the Scriptures. And I believe that I was called that day to Israel. I went on to actually move my family to the land of Israel after that call. And I served the Lord in the land. And while I was in the land, He gave me a heart to bring music to the world from the land of Israel, according to Isaiah 2:3, that the word of the Lord would go forth from Zion in the form of music, in my case. And so we began a record label called Galilee of the Nations in 1998 during the year of Jubilee, the first Jubilee in 2,000 years in the land of Israel, and we launched with an album called Adonai, the Power of Worship from the Land of Israel, which had international acclaim that year and went on until this day is touching people's lives. After we felt a call to continue music, we eventually moved our family after 3 years back to the U.S., to Nashville, Tennessee, and we went on to do music around the world and did over 50 projects in the next 10 years. But in 2009, the Lord gave us a burden to do film, and we started a film company called City of Peace Films, which did nothing but music videos and some shorts and things like that up until 3 years ago, where we did our first major motion picture, The Identical, which we're here to talk about now. But that journey, I'm here to tell your audience, began with you, Dan. And it began with the Chinese pastor, Pastor George Chen, and I'm here today grateful for that extraordinary moment in my life that was a paradigm shift for me.
Wow. What was so wonderful about that story was that as he would be lowered down into the cesspit, he said he would imagine he was in the most beautiful rose garden in the world, and he'd start to sing that hymn, "I come to the garden alone," while the dew is still on the roses, and he walks with me and he talks with me. And I thought, how on earth could this man sing something like that in such a horrendous situation? And I'm so thrilled that he made such a difference to you. How on earth did you get admittance to Israel?
Well, I actually went over there with a job opportunity, and involved in the telecommunications business. I went over there on faith with my children. I had four sons and a brand new daughter, but everybody was like 14 years and younger. And so they immediately immersed themselves in the language. All of us did, but as children and young people, boy, they all got it. So all my sons are fluent in Hebrew. And my daughter actually was a baby there, and so she lags a little bit behind in the Hebrew area because she spent a lot of her years here. But we went over first on a job opportunity, and then that evolved into a record label in a most extraordinary way. A man came up to me one day. He said to me, "The Lord told me to tell you that you're not here in this land to do exactly what you're doing right now. There's something else that you're supposed to be doing." And I said, "What is that, sir?" And he said, "I don't know. That's for you to find out. But what the Lord told me was to hand you this, $100,000 to start a company in the land of Israel, and I'm supposed to be the one to find out what that is." But after a lot of prayer and several months of seeking him on that, we started this amazing music company that really has been the foundation for everything I'm doing today.
Are you still releasing the music?
We are still releasing music. As a matter of fact, this movie that has over 22 songs in it is part of the music company that we originally started. And we have not only released now probably 60 to 70 projects worldwide, but this movie is going to also have a ton of music in it.
Wow! Now you have sitting next to you your very famous dad.
That's correct.
And I always remember some years ago seeing him play at Lake Arrowhead. Tell us a bit about him and his involvement with the company.
Well, obviously he's a partner with me in all that we're doing. He's a co-producer in the film. He also produced all the music. We co-produced all the music together and wrote most of the songs. And we wrote out of our own experience and our own love for the music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. This movie, by the way, goes through 50 years of period, from the Great Depression in the 30s all the way through the 70s. And the music that moved from each decade, from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, is represented in this film, but in an original music form. So it's been fantastic working with my father, who had many hit records at Motown in the 70s. And like I said, it's been a privilege. We had 5 generations show up in the movie in my family, and 3 generations actually did the movie. So my son directed. One of the son was a co-producer. I was the executive producer, and my father and I did all the music. And then my grandmother and grandchildren showed up in a scene with my wife in the movie, which meant 5 generations showed up in the movie, and 3 generations made the movie. How about that?
Wow. Now it's called The Identical. What does that mean?
The Identical, it got its name because it's about 2 identical twin brothers who were born during the Great Depression to a family that was so poor they hardly had anything to eat and no job, and they thought they were having one child, and they were trying to figure out praying to God, how are we going to get by with one child? How are we going to feed one child? They end up having 2 children. And instead of being the happiest day of the father's life, it became a very heavy struggle and a burden. So he went to to see this traveling evangelist, Ray Liotta, in the movie, and he finds out in this service, this tent revival, if you will, that Ray's wife, Ashley Judd, in the movie, had miscarried again and could never have any more children, and he asked for prayer from the congregation. While the father, who had the 2 twins, was there seeking God, he heard the pastor preaching out of Matthew on it's better to give than to receive. So he got this burden in his heart that he should give one of his children away to this pastor and his wife who could not have children. Talk about a tearjerker at that moment in the film. There ain't a dry eye in the house. I've seen it with my own eyes in the screenings we've done. And so they give away one of their children, and the one that stayed ends up becoming a Beatle-esque, Elvis-esque icon in music named Drexel Hemsley. This is a fictional story, obviously. And the one that went on to become a pastor's kid was going into the ministry, going to Bible school, and pursuing his love for music at the same time. And by the time he got married to Erin Cottrell, who was his wife, Jenny O'Brien, in the movie, Erin, you would know her from the Michael Landon Jr. series Love Comes Softly. She starred in 5 of those. Incredible actress. Anyways, she encourages him to use his gift while he was in school, so he joined a music contest, and he wins. And he starts to go on, and these 2 twins, who are brothers who don't know the other exists, end up unknowingly intersecting in this movie. And I'm not going to tell you the rest of it, but it's powerful.
Oh, that's great. Jerry, what was it like for you to be working with in the family business, as it were?
It was, I can't even tell you how excited I was to do it. Once in a lifetime. Who would even think of that? The whole family, but we've always been involved with music. Kids have always been part of music. And, of course, my son was even my manager when he was 19. So, we've been together all those years working together.
Wow. Tell us about your Motown career.
Motown, I joined Motown in 1970. I came from San Francisco Bay Area with my family in 1968. Ended up with Motown 1970 until 1978. And I was blessed with being able to work with major stars. Michael Jackson especially, but Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross, and many more.
And was that as a musician or a producer or what?
Producer and writer. That's what I did.
Did you have any idea about Michael Jackson, that there was going to be problems?
No, we first of all, I knew he was going to be something special as a talent. Because as a young boy, already he could. You teach him a song, he can hear it twice and he'd sing it perfect.
When you were making this film, what was your input in a way? Because you've obviously lived this life yourself. How did you input the film with your own personal background?
Well, my son comes to me and says, we're making a movie about the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I couldn't be happier. I mean, that's my era. It's my era. So, for 50s, I have my own band working. I opened up for people like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard when I was a teenager. So I've gone through those eras, and so I was just thrilled and got right to work.
When you worked with some of these stars, your band, did you sing, or were you? What did you do?
Singing, writing, and playing saxophone. Yeah. A little keyboard sometimes, and we had kind of show little bands,
So as you've seen the screenings, the pre-release screenings, how did you feel?
Well, I tell you, I felt so proud because not only my son is a wonderful producer of the film, but for him and I to write and produce and arrange together, and if we get hits together, that would be really fantastic.
So are you going to release then the soundtrack?
Yeah, this soundtrack more than likely is going to have 3 volumes because we actually did over 30 songs. Obviously, they don't play in their full length or anything like that in the movie. But the interesting thing is, in Hollywood, there's a very extensive screening process that goes on before a movie ever comes out. And we did several of those, and they score them, what they call the top 2 box scoring, or the top line, and we scored at the highest level of Hollywood. And interestingly enough, with all the great star power we had, which did great in the screenings and all that, the one single element that everybody said was the top element of the film was the music. They just loved the music of this film, and brought an authenticity to the film that people hadn't seen in a long time.
What would be the Christian message of the movie?
The Christian message was, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier, is that, in our lives, Dan, there are people out there, there are Christian people out there that are living a life because their parents thought they should go down a certain road, or their teachers said something, or some friend said you should do something. And some people are not happy today because of that. But it's never too late. And so the message would be, follow your dreams, but make sure that the dream you're following is the one God, envisioned for your life. To seek Him, and if He is in your dreams, nothing can stand against them.
How on earth did you get such big name people to be in the movie?
I'll tell you what, we being a first-time director for my son, a first-time producer as myself, that's huge in Hollywood. They're looking to see who's directing this film, who's producing this film. So we were at a huge disadvantage. The one thing we had going for us, though, was we felt like we had a great story. And so when when it came down to casting our first big actor, which we were going after Ray Liotta, people said, well, wait a minute, this guy did Goodfellas, he's done a lot of big movies, but what would make you cast him as a preacher? I said, because I wanted the passion of Goodfellas, but I wanted the compassion of Field of Dreams, which he was in playing Shoeless Joe Jackson. And we submitted this screenplay to his agent. And in Hollywood, once you do that, you have to give that, there's a commitment for that actor to read it and get back to you within a certain amount of time. And you can't go to 10 people at once. Okay. Yeah. Or you've defied the rules. Yeah. So we were waiting. 1 week went by, 2 weeks went by, and I'm thinking, if he doesn't answer this week, we got to go to somebody else because the time limit's going to be up. On the other side of the coin, Ray tells the story that he got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, mind you, and he said, oh, that screenplay that's in my car that my agent keeps bugging me on, I got to read that thing. Yeah. He walks out to the car, gets it out of the car in his bathrobe, comes in. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and he says, the guy's hounding me, I got to rate it. He said he started to weep within the first 15 minutes of the film. He said, I started to weep. I couldn't contain myself. He says, by 5 o'clock finishing this thing, I was texting my agent, said, whatever you have to do, I've got to do this film. And what he didn't know is we were praying on the other side that God, if this is your will, let Ray see it. And man, what they call him is the first in. Who's the first in your film? When your first in is Ray Liotta, they start coming in like dominoes. And we were able to go back and say, hey, Ray's in it, Ashley. Oh, he is? Wow, let me read it. Hey, Seth, Ray's in it. Let me read it. And everybody that we went to was loving the film, and they just started piling in. Not just our actor base here, but we had our director of photography, Carl Walter Lindenlaub, who did Dolphin Tale and did Independence Day. He came in. Karen Wagner, our costume designer, who read it, did The Green Mile and did The Notebook on the period piece. She came in. Keith Brian Burns on the production design, who did Fast and Furious and Hustle and Flow. All these people started coming out of the woodwork saying, we love this film. And before you knew it, man, we had a team that was amazing. And God, we funded this all privately. God brought every penny to the table and has met every need along this journey. And where His vision is, His provision is. I'm convinced of it.
When does it come out?
We are looking for an August 2014 release, probably towards the end of August. We'll have an announcement made later this week. And if everybody, all your viewers would go to theidenticalmovie.com, you can see the trailers, you can meet the cast there, and we'll update you, sign up, and we'll update you periodically on the progress of the film. Theidenticalmovie.com.
Do you have a favorite song from it?
Wow. That's a tough decision for us because we have a lot of them. Actually, the music is, we're going to debut at the Nashville Film Festival. Did I mention that already?
No.
Okay.
No.
We were invited to be the red carpet premiere event of the Nashville Film Festival, April 17th. Our music was already nominated for the best music in a motion picture in the festival, and 3 songs were nominated. One is called City Lights, one is called Angel of Mine, and one's called Nashville Tonight. And although and we may have a fourth called Your Love's Keeping Me Tonight. All of which we love, we wrote, we were involved in, but hard to pick one that you really single out. But
the main singer, is he more Elvis or what?
Well, he looks kind of like a young Elvis Presley, doesn't he? People are astounded. They're always asking. But actually, this isn't a movie about Elvis. This is a movie. This is a fictional movie about, like I said, about 2 identical twin brothers. And but Blake Rain, who plays both twins, did a fabulous job recording this music and has an incredible vocal tone that also reminds you of the great King Elvis Presley.
Oh, that's great. People go and see it. What do you want them to take away?
Again, follow your dreams, follow God's call in your life, and just make Him the center of your life, and you're going to be on the right track.
You've had an amazing story, haven't you, to go from living up at Lake Arrowhead and your dad playing in the local clubs there, and now you're producing this film. Do you have to pinch yourself?
You know, it's amazing. Life's a journey, Dan. You know, and I came to faith at age 24, and I was running down a road that I thought was, going to take me down a certain musical road in my life, and God didn't exist, really. He got a hold of me, cleaned me up, made me a new creation, gave me a beautiful wife, a beautiful family. My dad came to faith after that. My brothers, And really, from that moment in my life, I was committed,
Yeah.
one way or another, to serve the Lord with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength,
Yeah.
and to really do it His way. And and there was a season of time when I left the entertainment industry. There was a season of time that I couldn't even listen to the radio.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about those guys who burned all their albums.
Yeah.
I really wish I hadn't burned all my great albums. You know, I'm just kidding you. But
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
to know that I know that I'm doing His will,
Yeah.
and that He has brought me down this road. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And I needed one other thing. I told my wife, I said, honey, will you follow me? If God calls me to the ends of the earth,
Yeah.
will you follow me? Will you still love me? She says, I'll follow you to the ends of the earth. I said, even China? And she said, even China. And so that's full circle. I might be in China one of these days, you know.
So again, the website.
TheIdenticalMovie.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so very much.